I'm so happy to have this back. It's right here. You're holding the wheel, boom, drive, boom, reverse when you want to turn, and then park. All right, hello everybody. Welcome back to the Fit IT Guy. In this box today, I have the ultimate upgrade for the Tesla Model Y Juniper. The car should have just came with this. I don't know why it didn't. This is the feature that everybody's complaining about. And we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna solve this issue today. So what could this be? Well, it is quite simply the gear shifter stock for the Tesla Model Y Juniper. And it just fits right in here. It's a pretty simple install, and we're gonna go ahead and get this done. It even has the park button too, because the car deserves to have this if you wanna have your gear shifter again. It's as simple as that. If you don't care, then that's great. I wish that I didn't mind the on-screen gear shifter because cleaner look without the gear stock, but I do mind. I've had this car for 2 weeks now and I'm still not used to it. So many times I try to click on park and I forget how to click on park. Still haven't adapted to it yet after 2 weeks. Nothing's working. I have I have 700 miles on the car in 2 weeks and I still can't get adjusted to the on-screen shifter. It is quite annoying. The auto shift beta, if you watch one of my previous videos, is great if you like things to take more time. I'm very efficient and I like to be quick, boom boom, the way it should be, and done deal. Let's get this installation started and fix the #1 issue with the Tesla Model Y Juniper. One thing I realized is if you're planning to do this modification, if you're getting a dash screen, get the dash screen that actually mounts onto the dash. It doesn't look like you can actually use this gear shifter if you have a dash that mounts directly onto the top of the wheel like I have here. But Handshow does offer a model with a small HUD screen here. So that is another option as well if you wanted a little bit of a HUD but not a huge dash screen like I have here. So I will actually remove my dash screen. All right, first things first, we're just gonna pull this piece off. You can use the trim tool if you'd like. I just like to do it this way. I've pulled this piece off so many times. So it's a little loose for me already just from doing it. But pull this off here and gently get the tabs out like so. And then next we have this piece here. So I'll use the included trim tool, pull off this clip, and we'll just put this aside. Now with that off, we can basically just pull this piece off here, and then we'll pull off this piece here. You can use the trim tool again if you'd like. However, you can kind of just do this by hand, like so. And this should all come out. Again, pretty easy, comes out pretty gently, and you can just do that, like so, and we'll take it out. So next, we have our wiring harness here. And with most of these modifications, you'll notice that they give you the male and the female connection, which is very necessary because this allows you to keep adding on extra accessories. You can see I already have some accessories on here. Basically, I can plug this into my previous accessory that's already plugged into the car here. The main AMD connector is here for the Model Y Juniper. So I can basically plug this in here like so. And that leaves me with another connector for the next modification that I want to put in. So I'll just kind of leave that there. You can also cover it up with electrical tape if you'd like. There is the carpet piece that we took out covering it, so it shouldn't be an issue. And then we have another connector here, which is our power connector. So what we're going to do is go over to the screen, turn off the power. So you go to your main menu, click on safety, and power off. Now that the car is powered off, we can disconnect this plug here, which is our power plug, and we can plug it in and plug in the car power into the female port. This is the main plug for the power from the car. This is where you'll be plugging it into if this is your very first modification. However, I have a few accessories on here like I mentioned, so I have some extra plugs and wires. So we're gonna just stuff this neatly back here. And we have our final connector here, which is going to be the connector for the gear shifter itself. So this wire, we're going to wire it around from here into the driver's side. So I'm going to show you exactly how we do that. All right, guys. So we're going to take this cable that they gave us. We'll plug it in here. Should plug right in. Boom, perfect. And now there's a little tiny piece of carpet here that you can feel. It's the top portion of the carpet. And you can kind of just pull down on that. There's 2 clips here. And this will allow us to get the wire from here over through this piece. So we'll get the wire here, through this piece here. And we'll try to just fish the wire. Not even fish it, we'll try to neatly stick it in between the panels here, like so. I'll actually bring my camera here so that you guys can see that. If you can see what I'm saying, we're kind of pushing this cable here through so that it's hidden. It's basically going to go on top of the wireless charger, but underneath the, and this is a very simple install actually. So we can kind of just keep pushing this cable around here. So I'm going to show you something pretty neat. So we have the cable here, right? You can kind of keep pushing this, but we'll stop right there. There's this panel here. It was extremely hard to pull. The very first time I pulled it, I used the trim tool. Now that I did it once, it kind of just comes right out. You can do this, and then we can basically take the rest of our cable and kind of just put it through here and fish it out through the top. I'll put my camera right here so that you can see that. Basically do this, and I'll push the cable through the bottom portion here. And now you can see I basically got the cable from the bottom to the top, and I'll just pull it to fish it out this way to get it out of the way from the bottom. And then I can kind of just move it over here. And I'm going to get it underneath the clip so that the clips can go back in. Now I can bring it around over here. So what I'm actually going to do now is take off my old dash screen. If you don't, you know, most of you are not going to have a dash screen on here. You're just going to have your normal piece. So I'll show you exactly what to do to remove your normal piece, which looks kind of just like this. You'll just have to use the trim tool and slightly pull down on the bottom portion here to remove that. So I'll show you exactly how to do that now. I'll pull my camera here so you guys can see this. You can kind of just pull on the bottom here and use your trim tool at the same time. Okay, and just like that, once you get your trim tool in, you can kind of pop off the clips. When you do get a little space here, you can also go from back here and pull it down also. This will clip off the top portion of the dash, and once you get one side off, it's very easy to get the other side off as well. So I'll show you the other side here, what we're going to do. Okay, so same thing for this side. You can kind of get the trim tool back here, and just like that, it's going to pop out. So simple. There we go. Now to fully get it off, we're also just going to move our steering wheel out, and this will give us more space. Probably should have done that from the beginning, but letting you know as you're watching this so that you don't make the same mistake as me. And there we go. You have the top of the wheel out, and I'll just get rid of these cables from the dash and we'll put on the new one. All right, for the next step, I actually took the included zip tie. I stuck it in through here, and it basically came out right under here, under the steering wheel, and I used a pair of pliers to grab it as it was pretty thin, you know, pretty tight in there. And with that, I'm now going to attach the cable here. So I'm going to use the included tape that they gave us to fish this together, and I'm going to fish it up through the top of the steering wheel here. Okay, so now I use the included tape, which is a very thick tape. You want to use that because the wires are super thin on that small connector there. And we're just going to slowly fish it back up. We're going to gently help it get underneath the wheel here. We don't want to rip any cables, of course. So once it's under the wheel, let's see. All right, it's coming up nice and slow. We're just going to gently guide it. We don't want to rip anything. Going to help it out down here. Guide it any way we need to. If it's taking too much pressure to pull it, don't pull too hard. All right, pro tip here, I'm gonna try to show it to you, if it lets me. There is 2 holes in the section here where I'm fishing the zip tie through. There's a hole on the bottom, and there's a hole all the way to the right where this black cable, I don't know if you can see that black cable there. That black cable is going through the bigger hole on the right. So you want to fish the zip tie through that hole on the right that's inside here. That's the one that's going to allow the cable to come through. I tried originally from the bottom hole and it was too tight. I wasn't able to get it through. So learn from my mistakes, and if you're doing this, which you should be, the right hole is the one to bring it through. And now I can fish the rest of this cable. So let me actually do this. Put it there. And now I can fish through the rest of this cable. Perfect. There we go. Now I'm gonna grab this shift lever. Okay, so we're gonna take our shift stalk here, our gear shifter here. We're gonna put it there. We're gonna put it here. And it basically just slides right on like that. It's pretty cool. And there's one screw, I'll slide it off to show you. There's one screw hole right here. We'll use the included screw to screw this in. You're gonna want a very short screwdriver for this. So that slides on there, like I said, like that. And we're gonna screw in the included screw that they gave us. They gave us 2 of them just in case, which is great. You always want an extra. So we're gonna grab a short screwdriver here and screw that in, and then we'll plug it in to test it out. Okay, we can see it's solidly on there now. I screwed it in. It's working, or we can move it and it's not moving this part here, because now we're going to remove the tape from the zip tie here, and then I'm going to go ahead and plug in this connector. Okay, so now that we have that off, we're just going to plug in the connector into the port here, like so. And now that it's plugged in, let's see if this works. Step on the brake. Another thing I want to mention too is you can push the wheel in and out, no issues. This cable here doesn't restrict wheel travel at all. You can go all the way in, all the way back out. And of course we'll put the cover on this right after. I'm just testing this to make sure it all works first. And now let's test it out. And it put us in drive. My door's open, so it's beeping. Puts us in reverse and puts us in park. Let's test out neutral too. Is there a neutral on this? Okay. All right, looks like there's no neutral, which is fine because you can still use the buttons up here for neutral. So we still have that. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it back in park. And man, how necessary was this? Everything looks even now, left and right. They're the same shape, same size. And we'll go ahead and put the cover back on it now. I'm so happy to have this back. It's right here. You're holding the wheel, boom, drive, boom, reverse when you want to turn, and then park. So I'm going to bring the steering wheel back out now. And we'll put this cover on, just like so. Do this. Make sure it clips in on both sides. All right. Looks like it's in nicely, ready to clip in on the right. I'm gonna check the left side now, make sure it all looks good there. And when everything looks good and even, I'll just kind of clamp it down like so. All right, left side is clipped in nicely. And let's do the right now. And just like that, with one hand, I was able to clamp it in on both sides. You can see how flush it looks, and that looks amazing. Here it is again. I have the yoke wheel, so it's even more important for me to have everything even with stalks on both sides. I actually love the way it looks. Now, again, I would have preferred on the Juniper if they had turn signal buttons and the gear shifter stalk. That was my original opinion. I'm still sticking with that. And you still have the screen if you want to use that. I have the opinion that I'm never going to be using the screen for the shifter again. I mean, you just have your thumb on the wheel and boom, 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 boom. Simple as that. So I just pushed this panel back in here, pushed in that. You can see no cable showing anywhere. This was a pretty simple install. All I'm gonna do is tidy up this side now, which you'll see, and then we'll be all done with this modification. This took basically 10 minutes, not too long of a modification. And for those of you that hate the screen shifter as much as I do, this is a quick and easy fix. So we're just gonna close this all up now. So I'm just gonna push back on this carpet piece that we pulled down, where we stuck the wire through. So that's good. So just putting this on here. I always found this piece a little annoying because you have to get it under the gasket here as you're putting it in and make sure everything lines up. So I like to start from the back here, get the gasket over it, and kind of push it to the right, and then clip it in like so. Keep getting this gasket over it. There we go. And then this clips in there. And then we just have to put this final black clip in here. Okay, that's in. Everything looks great. And now we can put this piece back in. We're gonna insert it in the same way. So we're gonna push this in first. Make sure everything looks even. Push it in. There we go. Should go in pretty smoothly. That's how you know you have it all aligned. And the same thing, take this rubber seal and get it around. Probably easier from the bottom. I don't know why, but it is. And once this rubber seal is on top of it, you can push it in, and then it just clicks in like so, and you're all set.